Welcome back to Going Walkabout. Dorset, England. Leafy lanes, beautiful pastures, home to the Jurassic coast, with awe-inspiring places like Dirtle Door and Old Harry Rocks, classic ancient streets like the Gold Hill, and thatched roof cottages set in fairy tale green gardens. However, there is another side to Dorset, a side that brought death and destruction. In this video, we'll take a jump back in time to Dorset's early days and then pop back to the future for Dorset now. We stop in the year 1348. The Black Death has been spreading throughout Europe and by 1348 has made its way to the leafy lanes of England. The Black Death entered England via Weymouth, Dorset, a pestilence that brought down up to 50% of the United Kingdom population by the time it was done. Historians believe the plague came to England via a ship coming back from the wars with France. The war needed more archers, and the fresh group would come from the south of England via Weymouth. They believe a rat on the ship carried the plague to shore, leaving a trail of the infected in its wake. The infected first felt fatigue, which was quickly followed by swollen lymph nodes, vomiting, aching limbs, and pain due to decaying body parts. All this in just 10 days or less. As Dorset was on the tip of the spear, the county suffered huge losses, losing over 79 villages, with the overwhelming majority in the Chalklands area of the county. To this day, the remains of village churches can be seen as the final remnant of the villages lost, as well as gravestones denoting those that had succumbed to the Black Death. This is Knowlton, in the heart of Dorset, a great example of an ancient Norman church and a lost village near the River Allen. Knowlton is special, as it sits in the middle of a Neolithic and Bronze Age ceremonial complex. The earthworks that surround the church are over 4,000 years old. They are called a henge. There are nearly 100 henges in Britain, dating from 3000 to 2000 BC. As an ancient ceremonial site, the early Christians were smart to put their church smack dab in the middle of the henge, bridging the ancient beliefs to the new ones. The red rock used in the church was of the same type used in Stonehenge and was believed to keep out evil spirits and conversely keep in good ones. As with many religious sites in England, there are yew trees present. More on them later. However, it's fun to see how people are revering the old ways by adding their talismans to the yew trees. This is an outstanding example of the transition from pagan to Christian worship. Now, back to the future and present-day Dorset, which is truly a delightful place. Places like Gold Hill and Shaftesbury survived the plague and remain today. Weymouth Seaside is bursting with holidaymakers, and Lyme Regis is open and ready for business. Dorset is delighting people yearly as the most popular English county to visit, and it's easy to see why. Put your wellies on, and we'll take a quick drive around to some of the Dorset countryside and some sights to see. Just driving through the villages can be a fun afternoon. The thatched cottages dominate the picturesque villages. Driving down a leafy drive, you may get a chance to glimpse some of the larger estate homes in the area as well. In fact, 1/6 of Dorset is owned by 10 families. Much of the rest is owned by the National Trust. A great place to stop for a walk is Camford Magna. Once a huge estate, it is now a private school next to the River Stour. Walking over the swing bridge, you'll find tracks galore for an afternoon trek. On the school side of the river, you can follow the trail to the old train bridges and the gatekeeper's house, where a certain Mr. Steele was born. The delight level builds as we make our way to the Jurassic coast near Poole Harbor. A quick drive through the countryside going from Camford Magna to Old Harry Rocks area, we arrive near the footpath. And we decide to have a quick stop to investigate St. Nicholas Church, built in the 12th century and an excellent example of Romanesque Norman building. The Romanesque arches have both symmetry, simplicity, and depth. It's hard to imagine what this church has seen. The plague, smugglers coming into the coves below, wars, and wicked weather. It's still used today by all the locals. The yew tree in the yard denotes the fact that this was once a pagan ritual site, before there was even a church here. The pagans associated yew trees with death and birth. Thus, we find many yew trees in the gardens around old churches. You could say they were building on the previous religion. After viewing the church, a quick pub lunch is in order at the famous Banks Arms. Lunch was the perfect fuel as we make our way down to the Old Harry Rocks path. It's only about a mile long and fairly flat. Old Harry is the beginning to the Jurassic area in Dorset. The site spans 185 million years of geological history, coastal erosion having exposed an almost continuous sequence of rock formations covering the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods. At different times, this area has been desert, shallow tropical sea, and marsh, and the fossilized remains of the various creatures that lived here have been preserved in the rocks. The area around Lulworth Cove contains a fossil forest, and 71 different rock strata have been identified at Lyme Regis, each with its own species of ammonites. You can actually see the whole area by foot on the Southwest Coast Path, which runs for over 630 miles through Somerset, Devon, Cornwall, and Dorset. And there you have it. From death to delight, Dorset has it all. There is so much to see. I barely scratched the surface. You'll just have to come and explore for yourself. Thanks so much for watching. If you're enjoying the videos, a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. It helps the channel a lot. Better yet, subscribe. Next stop, Cambridge, England.